Welcome to the unsolicited thoughts of that ENTP. And within this same night, hence it was like around 2, 3 o'clock when I was making the first set of videos. It's now daylight out. I believe it's about 6 o'clock right now. Let's get the exact time. 6:47 right now. So I'm a bit excited. Right after all of that reviewing and everything, I'm really at a whole nother point. I'm just like, all right, let me give you the full cycle, right? There's the way life is always up and down, right? And where it gets like mundane, right? I'm going to give you my conclusions that I've come up with, right? Systems that I've used that help me in life in general, which I guess you can say after dealing with life that way, it took out the something. I'll leave that up to your imagination. So let's get into it. First things first, let's go with, start with this. I actually like this one a lot. This is a system that I've come up with. I didn't quite get a name for it. Think about the MOM system, like mental health awareness mechanism. So like a way that people can decide to live their life or choose to live their life so that they know that they're always doing the right thing, right? Let's say, let me just break it down. So we have being with effort, which is like when you go to work and tired or not tired, you have to go there and smile. Then you have being, but without effort, which that's supposed to be air. Excuse my graphics. But that's when you're at home. That's when you're at your max chill. Like you don't have to be anyone else, right? Then it brings us to earth, which is resilience. That is when you have to be, let's say you're someone who was cutting back on junk food, and it will take resilience to not eat that junk food. It will take your full power to not do something, right? As opposed to taking your full power to do something, full power to not do something. And then we got fluidity, which is it's pretty much resilience, but without effort. You know, you're adaptive. Like you're if anything resilient to reacting, as opposed to keeping something away so you don't react. You're just in it, but being okay, right? And it's different from being with effort and or being without effort, because what you're doing is specifically you're not allowing something to bother you. So as opposed to keeping it away, it's there and you're being fluid. You know what I mean? So this concept is something that is like, which refers back to, entry 2, where I mentioned this, right? I'm happy to rewrite them down so it's more clean. Take someone who mastered this thought process, right? They could end up like this, where I was mentioning that in the 24-hour period, you are, you've had your connections, your communications, you've lived your life at a balance, right? Which brings into this. And I'm sorry this is too much. I can definitely go back and break this up down more. But another system, Members of Light, I heard in the song actually, but rest, health, mind, wealth, right? When you get enough rest, getting enough rest gives you the energy to do anything in general. Like even if it's get up to brush your teeth, getting enough rest can give you that energy to do that. Which leads into health, which is choosing to brush your teeth, choosing to work out, choosing to eat right? Which then leads into your mind, right? You are what you eat. So, given you eat junk food or you're not taking care of your body, you then of course have natural negative reactions, which then leads you to your wealth. Given that your mind is in a great place of, growing, learning, improving, why would your money not follow up? Given that's of course something that is one of your concerns, right? And there's this constant will that is, if you don't know what you should be doing in life, it should be doing one of these. Like if you ever have free time, let's say you're working on a project that's probably having to do with your your mind or your wealth. If you are resting, like sleeping, that's your rest. If you are literally right now in this video podcast I'm doing, this has to do with, you can say, my mind, wealth, or health. You know what I mean? Technically, it's not wealth yet, but I don't see why such services eventually wouldn't have a monetary value, which we'll see how it goes. Remember, no pressure. Anyway, though, what I would say has happened to me amongst following these practices is that I love exploration, right? And there's this life that of all this exploring where it's got me. It's got me to a point of feeling like, I don't want to say you're by yourself, but amongst like just going out and to live life, to constantly always be in an act, right? Like always staging, like, which is being, right? To be out there is being, choosing to be better, your better self, as opposed to when I come home being relaxed, right? But I never really felt like I was able ever to relax because of the constant thinking of improvement, right? So then that comes to meditation. I want to admit though, meditation was never my strongest point because of I guess the constant need to be doing something, right? Like I have relaxed, or I know how to relax, but meditation, which I'm sure is a solution to this issue, right? For a person who has all that going on in their life, they're content, but even meditation can help them refocus back on that center. For me, with life being more like this, right? It's not so much this anymore, because this is getting tiring. I'm over the changes, right? Like, this system works. I guarantee you, if you're somebody who are struggling with this, like not knowing what you should be doing, or whether you feel like, you're always feeling like you're not doing the right thing. I don't give a damn about doing the right thing anymore. It's like, I just starting not to care. Like, just starting not to want to be taking up my thoughts, right? So I end up in this, like, all of these things that matter, right? Which I can help. I can literally help anybody with these systems get back on track. If you need help getting back on track or want to know more about this stuff, let me know, because I'm there. But it's when you get all that all intact, and this square becomes your world, that you have it mastered, and it becomes like, okay, well, what's next? What do you start thinking about that outside the box? And outside of that box, for me, is like, it's too open. It's like outside of our society, outside of mastering how to even be a good person. Because what is being a good person, when you step out of this frame, here's how we live, and here's our systems and in place. But out here, nothing matters. At least my perspective of looking out here. So it ends up driving me insane, because I get the inside. I get all of this, right? And in my book right here, it even says, I have a folder so I can get to this page real easy.